Hey, there we go. There we go. I gotta see. Let me make sure the audio is good. I'm feeling good. It's Friday night and I'm live streaming, and also because I'm a little bit baked. Okay,
Friday night and I'm live
there it
streaming.
is.
And also,
It works. Good to know. Good to know. Howdy, nighttime conqueror. Good to see you out there. If you're still out there. If you showed up to comment pre-show and then didn't stick around to watch, because it does say 0 watching. Now we got one victory. Yeah, Sacktap live. Good to see you. Probably gonna take off next week. I have to do a final thing for my strength and conditioning course. So that's going to be most of Friday. So I'll probably have to take next week off. Back the week after that. Apologies. Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. And YouTube, of course, where you can watch me. A very blue hue tonight on the screen. You guys can't see it, but I'm front lit by this awesome fucking I have those LED string lights underneath the top ledge of my desk here. So they're blue tonight. That's why I have a nice blue hue over. It's almost moonlit, it feels like I'm doing this maybe out by a lake on a nice moonlit evening. Um, what the fuck was I saying? I have no idea. Anyway, fucking, it's gonna be a tough one. I'm exhausted, and like I said before, a little bit on the toasty side. So this might be an interesting one. It's a long day. I got up early this morning, worked out, and then covered a class at the gym, then did some strength and conditioning homework, and cooked some chicken. So I've been going. Um, Thursday, I don't know what the fuck was going on. There was a very menacing gentleman in the bathroom at the Port Authority. It was one. He was just standing at the end of like the string of urinals, and I guess he was waiting to get into a stall, but he was like very deranged. Um, and it was one of those situations where you're trying to take a piss and it's hard to even get a stream going because you're like, oh, this guy behind me at any given time he might decide to start stabbing people. Because there was with another violent incident in Times Square, some guy got stabbed. We'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, it was. I just had a lot of run-ins with weirdos, mostly actually in Jersey City. Um, but it started like on the way home from work in the Port Authority bathroom. It was a very, it's hard to piss under those circumstances when you're worried that someone might start stabbing. You can't get that urethra to relax. Um, but I was walking to the gym on Thursday night, and I'm walking through the park in my neighborhood, and there is what he had to be a homosexual, I believe, Puerto Rican teenager shouting into his phone about how he hates people who wear green, and how he doesn't fuck with people who wear green, and nobody should be wearing green. And then he talked about how much he enjoyed performing the act of fellatio. It was a very interesting conversation to overhear because he was speaker phoning it, just walking down the street shouting this into his phone. Um, and I thought that would be the end of the weirdos. This was just moments after, by the way. I completely forgot about this. I was crossing the very, very busy John F. Kennedy Boulevard in Jersey City, and this car comes, there's a red light, and this car runs the red, and it's on 3 tires and 1 rim. Sparks were just flying out of this fucking rim as it's going. It does not acknowledge the light at all, blows through the light, and then it goes up through the lane of traffic, goes around the car that's waiting at the fucking red light there, and makes a left turn down this side street. I guess he was just trying to get off to the next parking lot, and figured he was better off not stopping and braking on the rim. I assume either that or he was being chased by somebody, and fucking bald tire or not, he was gonna fucking go. But it was a really weird like, I had just woken up from a nap and had just stepped out of my apartment and was like walking up the street getting ready to cross, and all of a sudden, like, oh, I have the light, but this guy's not stopping. Why is his car was rumbling. It sounded like a fucking tank was coming down the street. And I look up and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I just see sparks flying out of the thing where the rim was hitting the ground. So that was a wild thing to see. And then it continued. I'm walking down the street and I hear behind me the sound of like one of those Bluetooth, pill speakers that people have. They bring them to like the beach or the park or whatever. Around here, it's very, very popular for guys to like. Let me shut the old ringer off here. Apologies. They like carry them around on their fucking mopeds, their bikes, and they bump fucking shitty. It's usually shitty like hip hop music. Is almost exclusively shitty hip hop and shitty reggaeton. This guy happened to be playing shitty reggaeton. And I thought he was on a bike, and I'm walking. I'm like, his asshole's on a fucking bike on the sidewalk. So I just stayed right in the middle of the sidewalk so he wouldn't be able to fucking pass me either way. Because I believe that when you ride a bike on the sidewalk, you do deserve to be fucked with like that. Bicyclists there's few more detestable groups than bicyclists and moped riders and etc. I despise them all. But he's not passing me. So I get to the corner, and it's a fucking. I don't have the light to cross, so I stop. And this is Palisade Ave in the Heights, also a very, very like a street that people die on the regular. And this guy just keeps going. It turns out he was on foot. He was carrying this very eccentrically decorated Bluetooth speaker. He was blasting reggaeton. He was rapping along with it, and he was wearing a fucking like cape with I forget, it was like a tiger or leopard print at the top, and a backwards Yankees cap. And I'm just blown away by the entire outfit, almost to the point where this type of person who I would normally hate for this kind of behavior, especially topped off with a Yankees cap, no surprise wearing a Yankees cap, and a flat-brimmed, tilted Yankees cap, of course. I almost, because of the cape and just the confidence and arrogance with which he was carrying himself, was almost moved to offer my allegiance and be like, you know what, I support this. This motherfucker's living his best life. But then I get down to the light rail station where I was heading, and he was power walking. Fucking did not care that cars were zipping by, just strolled against the light on a busy street right across. And then I get down to the light rail station. He's just sitting there on a bench waiting for the train. So I'm not sure what the fucking hurry was. But he, not only is he sitting on the bench waiting for the train, he is still in a reasonably active, crowded train station, just sitting there, blasting reggaeton and rapping along with it as if nobody else is there. When he was crossing the street, he was smoking something. I wasn't sure if it was a blunt or like a cigarette or something like that. But I have never seen a bigger outpouring of confidence from someone who probably doesn't deserve to have it. Because, I mean, he's taking. You can't be that over the top and then have to ride the light rail. If you have that much outward swagger, you can't be riding the train around for public. You should be, get yourself an Uber or you should. I mean, almost you should have a driver if you're gonna walk around like a fucking like a king. So I was kind of like, he's walking around like he's fucking Johnny Badass reggaeton man royalty, and then he's just sitting on a bench like an asshole waiting for a fucking train. So, yeah, he should probably shouldn't reproduce, in my opinion. There was also a vagrant at the train station mumbling about how he wasn't afraid to go to prison, which is always fun. You never, I never think those guys are full of shit. Like I always assume that they will start stabbing. That's probably I would say the worst thing about living in this area is that like your day looking out for vagrants who might stab you is like it consumes a good chunk of your day when you live in this area, whether you're urinating or taking mass transit. And there was also among this cabal of people who I sort of interfaced with on my way to the gym on Thursday. There was also a fucking I was hoping he'd get pushed in front of a train. Uh one of the biggest douchebag. I haven't heard a douchebag conversation like this in a long, long time. But it was some, late 20s, early 30s finance bro talking to his buddy about weekend plans and then talking about these two chicks that he knows and how, one of them thought someone was some sort of whatever it was clearly a fabrication of some kind to make the approaching weekend sound more exciting and to make themselves seem more significant than they really are. Because really, this guy, what you have to understand if you don't live in the Hoboken, Jersey City area is it's overrun with, fucking like preppy looking 20, 30 something dudes with limited personalities convincing their buddies that they get laid regularly. Like it's really you can go out, you can do great people watching here. In fact, I would say if you're visiting the New York City area, you can't do it. Don't do it during the summer because during the summer everyone goes down the shore. There's like a skeleton crew left over, and it's not the same. Fall through spring, if you're visiting New York City on a Saturday night, go to Hoboken and go around like the downtown bars are probably the best place to see it. But you could also go somewhere uptown, maybe 10th and Willow or Madison or something like that. Or hang around like a pizza place or something like that. And you will see because this is where America's biggest douchebags all kind of congregate to. Like Brooklyn is for the people who are going to spend their 20s and 30s lying about being a writer, and then they get into some, bullshit fucking social media marketing firm job and they fucking, that's it. The closest thing they get to writing is fucking Antifa screeds on their local fucking neighborhood Reddit page. But what Hoboken is where all of like the kind of like fratty finance bro, not so much like guys who played sports in college, guys who were in fraternities and got really drunk before games in college and attended those games. So like if you ever see like the video when the camera's like panning the crowd at a college football game, the guys who are like covered in fucking war paint and like if their team's losing, they're burying their faces in their hands and shit. Like those guys make up much of Hoboken, and you always hear them lying to each other about how much they get laid. That was probably the thing that I miss the most about working out at like a shitty commercial gym in Hoboken was listening to conversations among these guys where they would be telling outright fabrications about their sex lives. So I overheard one of those douchebags talking to his buddy on the phone. Um, One of them is probably there's a good chance that some poor girl is going to get fucking date raped or like forcibly fingered this weekend by one of these losers. But that was the that was the start to the weekend. Howdy to Ryan B and Nighttime Conqueror. Good to have yous here. I gotta stay hydrated. I am fucking tired. I'm tired, sir. Um, so as I was saying, further violence in Times Square. It is getting wild as fuck in Times Square. Not gonna lie. Uh, I'm I'm always amazed that that's where people want to visit when they come to New York City too. Like it's not a compelling place. It's just nothing. It's just built like it's just buildings. Like there's nothing to do or see. It's like a pedestrian plaza. There's some tables and chairs, and then it's just buildings. Like there is absolutely nothing interesting about Times Square. It is such a stupid thing to come see when you are in New York City. And it amazes me how much of a tourist trap it is. Like literally it's like winter break for a lot of schools right now. So a lot of like families are traveling on vacation and there are just mobs of tourists hanging out in Times Square right now. And they're not doing particularly anything. Like there's all that they have there. They have these costume characters who will kick your ass if you don't give them a hefty tip after taking a picture with them, which it's the dumbest fucking thing in the world. I don't know why, you know, what you went on vacation and you went to the city which purports to be the greatest city in the world, and your activities included getting a photograph taken with some guy dressed like fucking Optimus Prime. Like it doesn't make sense that you would want to do that. And then there are like there are guys that will sell them like shitty fake there's not even music on them for the most. I don't think there's music on them. I think they're just blank CDs that they go up to tourists and they ask them if they like hip hop music, and when the white people from flyover country say yes because they don't want to be branded a fucking racist or a Karen or whatever, the guys will thrust a CD in their hand and then they'll demand like $10 for it, and they'll accuse you of stealing from them if you don't give them it's this huge shakedown. There are actually signs that say you do not have to, CDs can only be, I think it says like CDs can only be given out for free. You're not allowed to pay for CDs or it's some shit like that. Like very specific wording that makes it so that they're not supposed to be able to do this. But of course they're still doing it. But it's a nothing place. Like if you go visit Washington, I understand why you would go to Washington Square Park. Like Washington Square Park is kind of a groovy place. Like they're selling fucking weed and mushrooms and shit. There's the fountain going off and people jumping in it. There's it rat infested, but there is some grass and stuff that you can cool off under. You can watch like legitimate low life New York City drug dealers at work. There's a section of the park for that. There's people skateboarding. It's a very active place. You might see an anti-Israel, pro-Palestine rally. Sometimes you go there at night in the summer, and there are actual like bare knuckle fights and people standing around cheering. Washington Square Park, very interesting place. It would make sense to me that a tourist would go there. I don't understand why tourists flock to Times Square. Um, the latest incident, 17-year-old migrant stabbed in wild brawl involving dozens of people in Times Square. Yeah, dozens of people. The male victim, believed to be from Nicaragua, was chased by a large group before they caught up to him and knifed him in the lower back in front of 251 West 42nd Street. I saw someone running and there was blood coming from his back, coming from everywhere. What's he talking about? Megyn Kelly, there's blood coming from her eyes, blood coming from her ears, blood coming from her everywhere. Witness Bell Muhammad had told the Post. It's dangerous, Muhammad said. Yeah, no shit. The knife, by the way, the knife that they used is fucking massive. That's like it's bigger than a steak knife for sure. And there's a broom handle as well, and the broom handle has tape around the bottom of it, and it's broken off into a pointy part. Like these are the weapons of like a Central American prison. Yeah, this is this was this took place on the same block where a group of migrants attacked the police last month. You guys remember that when the group of wilding migrants beat the shit out of two NYPD officers, which I maintain is a terrible look for the cops. I mean, you can't go down like that. You gotta fucking represent. Like you got guns, right? Like if you're a cop and you get aren't like I was under the impression that all like beat cops were trigger happy maniacs who just wanted to fucking duel it out like it's the Wild West. If I was a beat cop and somebody attacked me, I would unfucking load, baby. Especially I think they attacked them with like bats and shit. I'm like, oh, I would be what's who's the fucking uncle in South Park? He's coming right for us. Pop pop. I mean, come on. The wild melee. Oh no! Here's the 2 hours later, another fight broke out a block away in front of the Hard Rock Cafe when two groups began arguing. The Hard Rock Cafe. I hear there's a wonderful vibe in their lobby. The verbal confrontation turned physical with a 28-year-old man assaulted by three suspects who were all arrested at the scene, the NYPD said. The victim suffered minor injuries after he was punched and kicked. Yeah, like if you go to Times Square, like right now, 8:30 on a Friday, it's a fucking mob scene. Like it's literally like there's like there's like a weird energy in the air. Like shit could just pop off at any minute. I may have to get out there and do some man on the street one night. I've tried it before, but a lot of people are like weird and unresponsive. I may have to hit it up again, but yeah, it's a very weird tense energy. The kind of like it almost feels like if a suicide vest or like a rampage shooting went off there, like you wouldn't be surprised. Like it just feels like I remember like there are times like walking down the street in Iraq where like there's like, oh, there's a weird energy here right now. It kind of gives you the heebie jeebies, like something might go down. Um but yeah, it just really has become like a more and more uncomfortable place. Yes, Sabaro. Yeah, yeah. You and Michael Scott and Nighttime Conqueror El Gusi all go for a little Sabaro. Um, no, you know what you want to do? Go to the I always forget the name of it. It's the place on the corner by the Comedy Cellar. That to me that is probably the best slice that I've ever had in New York. Although I'm going to be honest, I have always felt that like the North Jersey suburbs are better for that kind of food, like pizza and stuff. Like New York City gets its dick sucked because it's like the center of everything. But you go out to Bergen, Passaic, Essex, Hudson County, and you just go into like tiny little fucking no-name suburbs, like go to, Paramus somewhere, Fairlawn, Garfield, whatever. Go to a pizza place there, go get Chinese food out there, go get bagels out there. Like that's where all the real good shit is. And you get a much better price on it too. I'm glad. I'm a good emissary for the state of New Jersey. New Jersey fucking rules. Like we have everything. We have a shitload of professional sports. We literally have two NFL teams playing in New Jersey. We have an NHL team. We have the Jersey Shore is beautiful. It's fucking incredible. Like legitimately nice beaches. And all of that wild shit from TV does exist there, despite people like, it's not really like that. It is like that. There's a lot of fun that you can find. It's very easy to get laid at the Jersey Shore. But you can also find like completely empty, serene stretches of beach where you can just chill the fuck out. We got mountains, woods, lakes, all of that shit. It's good. New Jersey fucking rules. There are a couple chunks of it, like Hudson County, where I live. I live here because it's an easy commute, but even I'm going to move down the shore soon. Hudson County, in my opinion, it's a shithole filled with fucking idiots. But other than Hudson and certain parts of like Camden County or fucking Essex County, most of the state is very, very nice. Morris County, if you want to see out of your fucking mind wealth, check out like Morris or parts of Bergen County. Just fucking cash on top of fucking cash, baby. In New Jersey, anything is legal as long as you don't get caught. Those are the official rules. But yeah, New Jersey's the shit. I'll put New Jersey up against any fucking state in the country. I've been to a good. I haven't spent a lot of time in like flyover country, but I have been to like a lot of the coastal states, and I have yet to find one that stacks up. I know Florida is a very tempting destination for like relocated Northerners and stuff, but I can't imagine being in Florida for more than a vacation. It seems like it would be a very disgusting place to live. In any case, speaking of New York City and violent crime, there was so apparently they believe it was a hooker who was murdered. They can't confirm, but it's believed she may have been doing sex work at a hotel in Manhattan. They said she would go and she would stay at this hotel for a few days at a time every month. She was from Queens. She was I think a single mother, sending money to a family back in like South America or something like that. But prosecutors in Arizona say they won't agree to extradite the man accused of murdering a woman in Soho because get this. They don't trust Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. This guy has become such a fucking punchline for the way he has handled violent criminals that a murder suspect, another state is not going to turn over a murder suspect to face a trial because they think they have a better chance of keeping him off the street if they convict him of a lesser crime in Arizona first. This is the Maricopa County Attorney, Rachel Mitchell. I just want to say that I know there's been a discussion about New York wanting to extradite this individual. I'm sure this is not aimed at the NYPD at all. I know they did a hard job. They did a good job, but we will not be agreeing to extradition. I've instructed my extradition attorneys not to agree to that. We're going to keep him here. These are mandatory prison sentences. and having observed the treatment of violent criminals in the New York area by Manhattan DA there, Alvin Bragg, I think it's safer to keep him here and keep him in custody so that he can't be out doing this to individuals in our state, county, or anywhere in the United States. Because this guy who allegedly killed a hooker in New York City, or an alleged hooker, it sounds like what he did, has, I guess, a big history of attacking people. I guess he got arrested in Arizona because let's see. Did they say what he did? Police in Arizona said this guy Al Mansouri admitted he killed someone in New York earlier this month. The NYPD believes Al Mansouri attacked Denise Oleas Arancibia, 38, with an iron, killing her at a Soho hotel. Investigators also say he assaulted a woman in Florida in April. Leah Palian said that woman was with her, and she told the terrifying story. This man had the tightest grip on my neck, right under my chin, cut off the airway immediately, knew what he was doing. She said she worked with him at an Orlando restaurant, said he took off in her car after she called 911. Can you imagine? Like, Jesus Christ. That's when you work those jobs. When you work at like restaurants and shit, which I presumably most of us have, you never know who you're crossing paths with, because that's where that is where scumbags find work. Yeah. There must be so much shady shit. Like I only did like a year working at as a bar back. There must be so much shady, fucked up stuff. If you just combed the annals of food service worker stories, because it really is a scumbag festival. The only thing I wish, uh, I, I, w- I wish I worked in the restaurant industry when I had my own place, because the ability the ability to, in retrospect, potentially bang your coworkers uh when working at a restaurant is incredible. um I was like home over summer vacation, and other than like my, hometown girlfriend that I dated, I would never bring it was never a question of bringing women to my parents' house, except for strippers, which we did on a number of occasions. But like the idea, I my acting assumption was that going to my parents' house and potentially interacting with my parents would make a woman's pussy just dry up immediately. So I didn't even attempt it. I would save the getting laid for, college down the shore, stuff like that. Fucking there was just not it wasn't even fucking worth it. Um but yeah, you there was definitely, I remember seeing like the older staff who worked there who had their own places, and it seemed like they were having a goddamn sexual free for all, because there were a lot of like late 20, early 30 somethings working there who kind of hadn't really gotten their lives off of the ground. They were just kind of living locally, and the roommate situations, and working at a cocktail bar in Ridgewood. But yeah, what a scene. There was a this was before anyone really kind of understood what a trans woman was, but there was a trans woman there who used to just pick off drunk dudes like fucking crazy. Um, Always wondered what the conclusion to those liaisons looked like. I'm sure some of them fucking, you know engaged in some down low shenanigans. Um, but this was, yeah, he choked a coworker in Florida allegedly, but prosecutors said there wasn't enough evidence to prove the sexual battery and aggravated assault charges. He posted bail there in September. Yeah, fucking Florida. That's shocking. I thought they were supposed to be all Law and Order and shit. Wow. Yeah, I mean, if I don't trust Florida, I certainly don't trust fucking New York to keep this guy locked up. Fucking Alvin Bragg. Yeah, if you may remember hearing about Alvin Bragg on the news, there was a bodega clerk who was attacked, and he wound up killing the guy who attacked him. And Alvin Bragg wanted to charge him with manslaughter. That's Alvin Bragg in a nutshell. He's an absolute fucking joke. Did you ever? Not specifically, but I have I have hooked up with chicks who have told me like, oh, like my parents used to listen to him like when we'd be going like to school in the morning or whatever, or like, my mom's like upset, like it more like via their parents, not nobody really nobody in my age group really gives a shit. Um are you a fan of AM radio? They're on the FM dial now too. 92.3. What used to be K Rock is now 1010 wins. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Good to see an active and lively comment section this evening. Um the Waste Management Open was a couple weeks ago. Was it last week? The 10th, 11th? Yeah, I guess it was like a week and a half ago or so. 2 weeks. Oh, I guess was it the day before the Super Bowl, the weekend of the Super Bowl? Um anyway, people get fucking wasted during the Waste Management Open. As the New York Post reports, wasted fans has turned the infamously rowdy Waste Management Phoenix Open into a shit show. Um, that's how at least one golfer described the throngs at TPC Scottsdale. They had to briefly shut down alcohol sales and stopped admitting fans around 2 p.m. Let's have a look. I should probably pop in these. There might be some audio associated with this. Just a second. Is that the one? That's not the one. This is the first one. Oh yeah, this is a good looking fight. Let me. This is such a pussy ass fight, by the way. It's just guys in college. It's just bitches in college shirts going at it. This looks like remember that episode of The Sopranos when AJ got into the fight and the shirt got ripped? Yeah, these guys are awful at fighting.
Kick him in the nuts!
That guy yelled, kick him in the nuts. I like that guy. I was trying to see if that guy who was holding him down, is that security? I guess that's maybe that's some kind of security personnel. But it looks awesome. I first heard of this event a few years back. I went to high school with like a lot of guys who are like very, finance broy, fucking like, they do a lot of golfing and all that shit. Um and they were going out to this for, it was one of their bachelor parties. And they were talking about it, and I was like, I remember thinking like, oh, fucking a golf weekend fucking bachelor party. And I mean, knowing these guys that, even if they did just go away to play golf for a weekend, there would be a shitload of blow and chicks with big tits, on site as well. But when I eventually found out what the event was, I was like, oh, this is far more appropriate. Let me see if I can get let me get the next one up, because this looks fucking awesome. This looks like you know it's a good time. An obese gentleman belly flops down a hill and then gets bukkakied with beer and White Claw while flexing and screaming. Like, an awesome time was had by all at this event. Unless maybe you're trying to focus on golfing. That would suck a little bit. It would be a bit inconvenient to be lining up for a putt and have this motherfucker come down and start making snow angels in the sand trap. Like, this guy fucking rules. Like, this is so awesome. They're gonna be talking about this at like everything, every major moment of this guy's life. This is gonna, when someone has to give a speech about him, like a friend has to give a speech, like at like a wedding, bachelor parties, 60th birthday, fucking whatever. This moment is going to be brought up. Like, if you run on to the fucking sand trap at a PGA Tour event and start making snow angels, you are an absolute fucking legend. Like, this guy is a fucking king. I'm a huge fan of this behavior. Um, I was reading another fucking article about it, and all of these golf nerds were very upset. People, apparently, there are people who are like very into the sport of golf, and they don't find this appropriate. But as someone who doesn't give a fuck about golf and has no interest in it whatsoever, I find this hilarious, and I want more of this to happen. Especially, I love a pussy ass fight. Like, that might, as much as I love the fat guy fucking sliding down the hill on his belly, lubed up with fucking alcohol and mud, and as much as I really respect and tip my cap to Sand Trap Snow Angel guy, I I can't tell you how much I love watching groups of fucking boozed up frat bros get into fisticuffs with each other, because none of them can fight, none of them can throw a punch. It all it's always like a kind of like hockey fight where just like maybe a shirt's gonna get pulled over and someone's gonna be in a headlock, and then none of them know where to take it from there, because they're really not people who are built for physical combat. Like they really, yeah, they fight like children. This fucking, but this, I'm just scrolling through pictures now, looking at this. The fat guy on the hill is just a hero. But yeah, what an event. Has anyone been to the Waste Management Open in the comments section? Do any of you give a shit about golf? No, right? I can't imagine you do. Get out of here. Stop sharing. Bring me back up on the screen. There we go. I guess we got time for one more story. Oh no. Breaking news, gents. Breaking news. I was going to read this story about this prankster who was suspended from school after he drenched boaters with milk in a viral stunt, which I think is hilarious, by the way. Drenching people with milk is probably one of the funniest things you can do. When I was growing up, we used to drive around throwing Slurpees at people. So I totally support this kid for dousing boaters in milk. That's fucking hilarious. But I am going to pivot instead because there's breaking news in the New York Post. Does penis size matter? Does size matter? Age-old penis debate finally settled in groundbreaking study. Here we go, gents. New data has finally put to bed the age-old debate. Does size really matter? The controversial topic has long caused divide among men and women. Researchers have just released stats that prove the issue isn't exactly about what's in a man's pants, but instead lies in the taboo surrounding female sexual preferences. So they say. Aha. That sounds like something that a guy with a tiny dick came up with, if you ask me. Academics at the University of Kent in the UK's South have just released a groundbreaking study that debunks some of the biggest myths about sexual pleasure for women. So they analyzed 265 sex toys. What is that analyze? Like after did they get grab them after they were used and like give a sniff and a look and a taste? The study assessed factors such as size, material, price, and customer reviews to uncover what women really like in bed. The findings were very revealing, showing circumference trumps length in importance when it comes to a women's preferences. Go forth and spread the word. Shout out to the girthy boys. You're the ones getting it done. Researchers gathered 75 studies with over 55,000 men from 1992 to 21, focusing on the length of an erect penis was analyzed. Let's see. It also dispels the long-held belief that bigger is better in the context of sexual satisfaction. Researchers concluded that women don't place considerable emphasis on large phallus size. I told you guys this is a study that was conducted by guys with small dicks. This is now they're going to bust out. No, actually, there was a study that found that size doesn't matter. The surprise bedroom revelation comes after it was found the average penis length has increased over the past 30 years. We're growing, baby. Research published in the World Journal of Men's Health last year discovered that average penis size had grown 24% over nearly 3 decades. Our dicks are a quarter bigger than our father's dicks. How about that? That means if your father has, has like a 5-incher, what's a quarter of a 5-incher? I can't do math. 1.1 and a quarter. So then you would have a 6 and a quarter, which I think let's be honest. It's 6 and above is where you want it. You want to crest 6. Um, so what a point of pride that would be to be at 6 and a quarter, while your father's at a lowly 5. While many think the findings are good news, experts warn it's actually a concerning discovery. Yeah, experts with tiny penises. Researchers at Stanford University who conducted the study fear the phallic inflation is due to unhealthy habits like binging junk food or being mostly sedentary. What? No, there's no way. There is absolutely no fucking way that eating junk food is giving anyone a bigger dick. If we're seeing this fast of a change, it means that something powerful is happening to our bodies. Because otherwise, all these fat slobs out there would just be slinging hog all over the place because they'd have fucking big dick confidence to go and track down pussy. Data from 75 studies with over 55,000 men from 92 to 2021 focusing on the length of an erect penis was analyzed. Here it is. Here it is. Erect penile length is getting longer from an average of 4.8 inches to 6 inches over the past 29 years. The average in the early 90s, 4.8 inches. What a fucking... No wonder those like Houston 500 gangbang videos were such a big thing in the 90s, because the chicks couldn't even fucking feel anything. It's just guys coming in with fucking 4 inchers. While more studies are needed to confirm the findings, and if confirmed, determine the cause. I love the post. This research's conclusions are hard for the experts to swallow. Dr. Eisenberg assumed he would see a decline. Instead, he found the opposite. Chemical exposure from pesticides or hygiene products, he continued, could be one of the various factors causing the quick growth. Such chemicals can disrupt the endocrine system, which regulates hormones. Past studies have claimed pollution is shrinking penises. Which is it? Which is it? We need to know. Are the chemicals growing or shrinking our dicks? This is very important, because if the chemicals are shrinking our dicks, then we do need to put a lot of research into getting rid of these chemicals. If the chemicals are growing our dicks, then I think that's a win. We have these chemicals that are making life more convenient, and they're giving us these great big whopping penises that they didn't have 30 years ago. So shout out to all the homies in the 6 and up club. So yes, Cowster, I am a very, very big fan of using a cock ring. I used to have one that was a very like basic cock ring, like it was just like this like stretchy rubber, and it had a little vibrator at the top of it. The one I have now is like a fucking... it's a very impressive contraption. Like, it's nice. It's a sleek design. It's got like multiple. I think it's got like 10 different vibration settings. It's got like a fucking a thing that goes underneath your balls, so it buzzes your ball sack from underneath. It is an absolute treat. I would highly recommend anybody out there invest in a good cock ring. Can't go wrong with a good cock ring. 7 in your yeah, I would say if you have a 7-inch hog, you have a hog that you can brag about. You can legitimately brag about. I think I would say 6 and up You could be very proud, pleased, happy. You can walk around with a smile. Once you hit 7, I think 7 is where bragging rights kick in. Makes your head turn into a portobello mushroom. Yeah, it does. It holds all that blood. You get an ample, robust erection from a cock ring as well. Again, I'm a big proponent of, and I think this is the Marine in me, because in the Marine Corps, we believe in establishing a 3-to-1 firepower advantage over the enemy. You bring everything you can to the fight. And if that means that you're bringing a vibrating piece of silicon to the game to get your lady off, then so be it. It's just it's what you do. It's what you do. You wouldn't leave the AT-4. You're not leaving that back on the base, are you? Yeah, you're bringing it out in case you got to blow up the enemy. Anywho, we are just kind of cruising into to 9 p.m. I have a couple steaks to eat, some rice to cook, and some more cheeb to smoke. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all for being here tonight. I hope you had a good time. Again, off next week so I can do my strength and conditioning fucking case study. And then I'll be back the next week. Follow me, Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. And of course, I'll leave this up on the way out. Brother said something there. At Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube, and please pass it around and tell your friends. Had a great time seeing you guys. I will see you in a couple weeks. Adios, motherfuckers.